when, Chris and I came into the project, one, we already we're familiar with the world of Agatha and Westview. And I think Jack also just had and Mary Lavanos had just incredible vision for what the show is and what it should be. And, by the time we're working on it, we already see the costumes and the set design and all these other amazing elements that it really informs sort of what that is. And so then I think my gut response is kind of what's already there. And I think with Rio's especially, we really kind of focused in on her relationship with Agatha and really found a lot of inspiration just from their amazing chemistry together and seeing their journey throughout this show. And I think episode 1, 2, you get the amazing fight scene between them, and it's her entrance, the knife, and also they're sort of flirtatious energy. And so it's informing all these things. And I think the rest of the show, it's we give you all that up front, and then now we're unpacking it. And then, by the time we get to the end, we're like, oh shit, this is really emotional and really just how intertwined they are. And I think, so yeah, it's just really just following what's this, this beautiful vision that already exists. And, I think it's also, I think it was one of my favorite things to work on was working on our theme. So thank you. So the song, when we came on board, the song was already written and obviously an integral part of the show. But Jack actually said at Paley Fest last week how much the song is a character and it's a spell, and how she's talking about it's a spell within the show. It's something that the characters relate to, but it's also a spell to the audience, and it's it has all these subliminal things in it that when you get to the end of the show, it has this big rewarding experience, and then you can go back and go from the beginning and sort of trace all of that. And I think with us, we, for some of the variations of the ballad, we wrote the orchestral accompaniment underneath, and then we also would pick certain spots throughout the show to drop in the theme, hints of it, at the very beginning of episode 1, Agatha is driving the car and she's whistling the tune to herself.
When she's in her, she's the detective, right?
Exactly, yeah. And you don't even know, yeah. Exactly.
Or oh wait, she was singing.
Yeah, and right after she's done whistling, the score takes it over and we keep the melody going. And we don't know, as an audience, if you're watching it the first time, you don't know what that means. But we're already dropping hints, especially in the first 2 episodes. So by the time the Coven is actually singing it on screen for the first time, we're already familiar with that. And so just continuing that throughout the show. I think with WandaVision, we didn't, no one really knew what it was. The audience, there weren't those expectations yet. And with Agatha, now we're coming into this world that's already familiar. And I think people are expecting something. And now our job is you think you know what you're expecting, but we're going to twist it even further. And so, there was a sort of tricky element in that. But it was really fun, doing that. I think just as a fan of film and TV and storytelling, I think any chance you get to work on something like that, and I just finished Severance, watching it, as a fan. The music's amazing, the storytelling's amazing, and I think just the mystery of it. Each episode you're all right, I want to know more. And I think any type of story you're telling, if the audience is coming away with questions and this this interest of wanting to explore further, I think that's something really special. Inspiration, I listen to all sorts of things, and I'd say one score in particular that sort of when I was in high school really resonated with me and sort of kind of pushed me on this path was Clayton Mansell's score to The Fountain, Darren Aronofsky movie. Yeah, and I think I was I learned it all on piano, and I was playing along to it, and I think just really seeing the emotional weight and power that music has. And in that story in particular too, it's get these 3 parallel storylines, and music is really the thing that helps tie it all together. And I think that's something that's really special, and I think just really fascinating. But I think also I listen to a lot of music outside of film, and I think as a composer, I think that's really important to be interested in genres beyond that. Like, I'm excited to go tickets for Kendrick and SZA in a few weeks in LA, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm afraid going to see them.
Oh, really? Yeah. But see him in his hometown, like, I've seen them both separately, but now together at the same time. Like, I can't imagine like how special that's gonna be.
Perhaps no cheese.
Oh, I'm really hoping so. Yeah, I really wanted to be there for sure. And I draw as much inspiration from artists like them. And I mentioned the panel like Blackpink and Explosions in the Sky, like one of my favorite bands growing up. And like how that informs me just as much as other film music and other classical music. And I think it's the fun thing about film music is just like it contains so many different genres and ideas and inspirations, and just finding fun ways to combine that all together. Other projects that not Marvel that I just finished up, these 2 indie feature films that are currently making their way through the festival circuit. One's called Unspoken, and it's about a Jewish high schooler who is gay and really sort of coming to understand his identity and learning the backstory of his grandfather who was in the Holocaust. And so finding some parallels in their journey, and it's very intimate character drama. And then another project that I just did is it's called El Tonto por Cristo, and it's about this fictitious Orthodox Christian monastery on the coast of Texas in this small town, and it's very sort of art house. It's in black and white, like, and it's just like this portrait of this character in this community. And yeah, I think both those projects, just musically, scope-wise, are very different than Marvel, and I think I enjoy getting to the opportunity to do both, and I think really sort of exploring and trying. I think I love storytelling in so many different mediums and different ways, and there's so many different ways like you can connect with people, and so I think anything like that is special.